All right, so we give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach today. You pick this up in John chapter 5 and verse 39. So search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they was testified me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? So let's go to Psalm 37:1. I'm gonna make a quick detour because that documentary series I put in the chat. Cuz made a couple comments on a couple verses, and the nigga statements was erroneous to say the least. So I will share that information with you now.
On the second one, not the first one.
I ain't know if I put a second one in there.
No, because I went back and looked at the first one because I guess it's a couple parts to it.
Oh, this nigga done came out the house. Psalms 137:1. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us mirth. Sing us one of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing Yahuwah's song in a strange land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget. If I do not remember, Shalom, man. If I do not remember you, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Yahuwah, the sons of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed. Happy that rewards you as you have served us. Happy be that take and dash your little ones against the stones. Shalom, Sharon. Let's just deal with this right here, man. Let's come over here to Matthew chapter 2 and deal with this erroneous information that this gentleman shared. Talking about how can individuals believe the New Testament because they conflate certain things and this, that, there, and the third. But, take that into account that these people don't be knowing what they be talking about.
Or the one he went with Isaiah.
Oh, I'm not focusing on Isaiah.
No, he tried to parallel it.
Yeah, but the Isaiah one is the one you pay attention to because that's the verse you know. Mm-hmm. No, we're not talking about the verse you know. Matthew chapter 2 and verse 13.
Oh, it's 13. I'm sorry, somebody was trying to say what about it? I didn't see the documentary.
No, he just made mention of them verses. That wasn't the focal point of his conversation. He didn't. He was talking about Masons and things of that in that episode. The next episode was about Marcus Garvey and Pan-Africanism and the phoniness thereof, which I'm already aware of. You know what I'm saying? Most of y'all are probably not. You know what I'm saying? Most of y'all probably don't even know who Prince Hall is, where he came from, why he did what he did, and all the stuff they had going on. You know what I'm talking about? But all that junk, just a bunch of niggas. Matter of fact, is this lady just posted some junk talking about white men build this and white men have that, and black men don't do nothing but compete with black women. And I'm like, yeah, everything except for the competing with women part is true. But the only thing that you're going to be able to change that is you're going to have to do something that niggas don't want to do. And that's shed and spill blood. Because niggas just think you can just work real hard and overtake a ruling class. And that has never happened in the history of mankind. The only way that you can't build an infrastructure in someone else's country. I don't even know why niggas think that you're going to be in somebody else's land and build your own infrastructure and that those people are going to let you do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen. You're going to have to fight for that, which means you're going to have to go to war with these people, which means that thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people are going to die. And you are not going to see the end result of that matter. And niggas don't want to do that. So instead of complaining about this, they'll just shut the hell up. That's the women and all. Everybody just shut the hell up. Because if you niggas ain't willing to pick up no fire and go in the middle of the street and shed and spill blood, then just shut the hell up. What you crying about it for? Because you're not willing to die for that. So just leave it alone and just live your life and be subjected to another group of people till you're ready to overthrow them. You know what I'm talking about? Because if not, what are you talking about it for? You know what I'm saying? Niggas is not finna do that. It's just not gonna. Nobody. You have to be completely fed up. Now, of course, we know according to the word, we don't have to do that. But if you're just talking about in the plain natural sense, that is the only way and it's not white supremacy, it's white rulership. You already know this shit. That's the only way you're going to overthrow that. Nobody hands off rulership to another group of people and say, I'm tired of ruling now. Here, you take it. You know what I'm talking about? You can see that in the text. The Babylonians were overthrown by the Persians, and the Persians ended up being overthrown by the Romans. And even when Genghis Khan ruled, eventually he was overthrown. You know what I'm saying? You want to overthrow a ruling class, somebody has to die. That's why, again, you notice from the text, Revelation 11 and 17, say, and the nations were angry because they lose their kingdoms. See, come over here and look at it since I mentioned it to you. This is Revelation 11, 17. See, people just be talking because that junk sound good in theory. See, and it's mainly women and simps that had that conversation. Because if you study history, you know what it takes to rule and how to be able to rule. War comes with that. Mm-hmm. Or make it 14. The second woe is past. Behold, the third woe come quickly. The seventh Malachim sounded. There were great voices in Shamahim saying, the kingdoms of this world are become of our Lord and of his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever. The 24 elders which sat before Elohim on the seats fell upon their faces and worshiped Elohim, saying, we give you thanks, O Yahuwah Elohim Almighty, which are, was, and are to come, because you've taken to you great power and have reigned. And the nations were angry, and your wrath is come, the time of the dead, that they should be judged, that you should give reward unto your servants, the prophets, and to the faithful, and to them that fear your name, small and great, and you should destroy them that destroy the earth. Why, of course these people are going to be angry. What's one of the reasons why the nations will gather up to war with him? These people just not going to give up their kingdom and their rulership just because he said he going to take it. And I don't understand why people don't understand that. But I know why you don't understand it, because you don't want to rationalize that in your mind, because none of you have ever experienced war, not at your front door. None of us are accustomed to what people in Afghanistan are accustomed to. People in the so-called Middle East are accustomed to. They're accustomed to warfare and contrived rebellions and upspringings and all that type of stuff. And they know that death come with that. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas in America just think that white people just gonna hand it off to you. You know what I'm talking about? Or if you just work really hard, like, do you understand what it means to build infrastructure? In order to build infrastructure in a city or state or country, you actually have to control said city, state, or country. You know what I'm talking about? How you gonna build? What you gonna build infrastructure in Paxson? You ain't got no authority to build no roads. You just can't start working on no roads. You can't just start doing electrical stuff in the middle. You can't do that. Them niggas can talk about going to get homesteads in the middle of the nowhere. You still can't do that, because them white folks can still come out there and shut you down, and ain't nothing you can say about it. What you gonna do? Them crackers can say, we want to build a highway here, eminent domain. We taking that because it's theirs, and the only way you can stop it, you're gonna have to kill it. You're gonna have to kill it. You know what I'm saying? And don't nobody want to do that, because don't nobody want to die. I'm telling you, just check your history books, man. Get you an encyclopedia. Do you some research, and you'll see that no one has ever transferred power in the history of mankind without the shedding of blood. Matthew chapter 2 and verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the Malachim of Yahuwah appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise, take the young child and his mother, flee into Mizraim, and be there until I bring you word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Mizraim, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Mizraim have I called my son. Let's just go ahead and look at the two locations that he's referring to. Exodus chapter 4 and verse 22. And then after that, Hosea 11. You can make it Exodus 4:19. Moses, I'm sorry. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, in Midian, go return to Mizraim, for all the men are dead which sought your life. The same thing, right? But now it gets changed a little bit. Moses took his wife and his sons and set them upon an ass and returned to the land of Mizraim. Moses took the rod of Elohim in his hand. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, when you go to return into Mizraim, see that you do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in your hand. But I will harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go. And you shall say unto Pharaoh, thus saith Yahuwah, Yasharal is my son, my firstborn, and I say unto you, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if you refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay your son, your firstborn. Now let's pause and shalom, man. And we're gonna try to get some understanding in a multitude of manners from this particular statement. Number one, he said he called his son out of Egypt. So first things first, do you recall what Egypt and Pharaoh means by definition? Yeah, Egypt means double straights. Pharaoh, if you remember, because we're talking about Pharaoh Hophra last night, Pharaoh means great house. So he's telling him who's of a great house to let his son go from double straights. What is straights? What does it mean to be in double straights? Yeah, a prisoner. You could say bondage, but also land double straights. When you sit back looking at, let's just look at straights by strict definition, and we don't have to go through all that. Now you want to come up. And when you have straights, this is a narrow channel joined by two large bodies of water or narrow space. And that's what I was going to roll with that. But more importantly, perplexity or distress. Like you've probably heard the term, this person is in dire straits. So you are in distress. So the bondage part is a little different, but this is a place of distress. And he's asking for him to release his people or his firstborn son out of a place of distress. Now, when it comes to he's saying, Yasharal is my firstborn, my son, even my firstborn. Now, when we look at his firstborn son, how was his firstborn son birthed? He was birthed through distress. See, again, that goes back to what we were talking about, there's BOA talking about the God of the Bible, say this, say that. And the initial creating of the people, they were created through distress. They were created through distress. The house of Yasharal went through distress before he delivered them. You know what I'm talking about? So when you look at this here, right, he's asking this here. Now, when you look at it and you juxtapose Pharaoh and his firstborn being killed, who would this be referring to? Because Pharaoh is a great house. He said, if you don't want to let my sons go, I'll slay your sons. Well, we know who his sons are because he that commits sin is of the devil. So that way you know who his sons are. So if the world does not want to release his sons, which you already are familiar with, which you're already familiar with in the text, we talked about it the other day that they want to persecute the righteous. Yes, sir.
I'm reading something now about the two straight
Mm-hmm.
like two sides of the Nile River.
Yes, sir.
Like double straight, two enemies, double press, or double trouble. Interesting parallels between each of their relationship with the nation of Joshua.
That's absolutely. That's why I say that's why you had the bondage. But see, we don't want to go with the bondage only because of the erroneous definition that most brews give and say it means Egypt means bondage in Greek, which I think most of you are familiar with if you know a lot of Hebrews. You know what I'm talking about? Where we at with it? Now he said, if you don't want to let his son go and serve him, then he's going to slay your firstborn. Now, Herod, did he let the man go? Not on the first go round, but on the second go round. Did they let him go? No, they did not. Did not Pilate seek to let him go? And what happened? What did the people do? They refused. So now all their firstborn will be slain. I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind because see, we working the son. That's going to be in Jeremiah, of which we have to go look at. Verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men. Oh, I think I skipped something on that. I'm sorry. And I didn't get Hosea 11:1. He said, when Yasharal was a child, then I loved him. And I called my son out of Egypt. And as they called them, so they went from them, and they sacrificed unto Balaam and burnt incense to graven images. I taught Ephraim also to go, taking them by their arms, but they knew not that I had healed them. I drew them with cords of a man, with bands of love, and I was to them as they that take off the yoke of their jaws, and I laid meat unto them. He shall not return into the land of Mizraim, but the Assyrian shall be his king, because they refuse to return. And the sword shall abide on his cities, and shall consume its branches and devour, because of their own counsels. And my people are bent to backsliding from me, though they called them to the Most High, none at all would exalt. Now let's take a look at this here. Drew them with the cords of a man. When we look at cords, we have a ball. Now, that is cord, rope, territory, band, or company. But that's not also what you want. It also means pain, sorrow, and travail. And you got Kot, Bat, and Lamad. And you can go ahead. Kot, Bat, and Lamad. Appreciate that, Brother Reynolds. Kot, Bat, and Lamad. Kot, Bat, and Lamad.
What's the word for it again?
Cords. You say he loved you with the cord. He drew them with the cords of a man. Kot, Bat, and Lamad translates, means pain. He drew you with the cords or the pain of a man with bands of love. Mm-hmm. Bands, if you would like to know, is a bath, and that is cord, rope, foliage, interwoven. And that's ayin, bat, and tau. And of course, that would be knowing the covenant or experiencing the covenant of the Son to these bands of love. Yes, Sean here has the Son was separated and chastised. Now, when we come back and you look at it in John 16, he talks about that to a certain degree and parallels it with a woman giving birth. So when you look at the cords that he drew you with the cords of a man, he was seeking to draw you with the pain and travail of a man. When we look at draw, that's mashak, that is the drag, that is the seize, that is to be drawn out. Let's take a look at that. Matter of fact, where he makes that statement. Come over here to John 12, just real quick, like. 12 and 27 is sufficient. Now is my soul troubled, and shall I say, Father, save me from this hour, for this cause came I unto this world. I will esteem your name. Then came there a voice from Shamahim saying, I have both esteemed it and will esteem it again. The people therefore that stood by and heard it said that it thundered. Others said a Malachim spake to him. Yahusha answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world set. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all unto me. So when we look at that and we see that parallel, because he say he drew you with the cords of a man. Of course, if he's get lifted up, you know that he's suffering on that tree, and that is drawing all unto him. And you're being drawn by the cords or the pain of a man. See, come over here to Luke 24, just add that in, 24 and 25. He said, then he said unto them, O fools and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not Mashiach to have suffered these things to enter into his esteem? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded into them all the scriptures of things concerning himself. We only went there for him to say, should he have not suffered? So in order for you to be drawn or to be dragged out, and to go back to the aspects we were talking about with him being an intercessor, he was going to have to go through pain. That was the only way that was going to happen. Then, of course, you have bands of love. Well, where does the bands of love come from? John chapter 10. John chapter 10, verse 29. My Abba which gave me is greater than all, and no is able to pluck out of my Abba's hand. I and Abba are one. Now, when we come over here and we look in John 17, right? We just need two witnesses for this particular matter. You know, in John 17 and 21, he's talking about being one with his Father, and that you could get the love of his Father that the Father has shown unto him. Did he not make that statement? So when you look at cords of being drawn with the cords of a man and being bound or by the bands of love, it's being one in the Hab of Elohim. And that can only happen based off of what we also discussed last night in Deuteronomy chapter 6. There's no way possible that you're going to be able to give your love to this man and you have not fully surrendered your whole entire life unto him. It's going to be impossible because now you can't be one. See, matter of fact, let me make a statement. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, where Paul makes this statement. He referring it to the body, but we'll just take it with the Father and the Son first and foremost. I don't have chapter 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 24. For our comely have no need, but Elohim have tempered the body together, giving more abundant honor to the part which lacked. There shall be no schism in the body, that the members should have the same care one for another. When one member suffer, all members suffer with it. Or when one member honored, all members rejoice with it. Now you are the body of Mashiach, and members particular. Why is this important? Now he's referring to the body, but do you not know if the Father and the Son are one? Do you not think that the Father suffered with the Son and rejoiced with the Son upon the Son achieving the objective? Because there's love involved, and when we're dealing with Elohim, love is a God, it's oneness. That's why that Deuteronomy 6 is important. That's why it's the greatest law in the law. Here, O Yasharal, Yahuwah your Elohim is one, and you will love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. You know what I'm saying? If you're not able to fully give yourself to Yahuwah, you will not be able to submit unto him. Therefore, you will not be able to be one with him, which means that you will not be able to be delivered from him, which means we will never understand what love is. It is still amazing to me at this particular stage in human history that people still believe that love is an emotion and a feeling. That niggas is fully grown and still think that love is a feeling. You know what I'm saying? That junk is sad. So that means that's just one or two things. That's either miseducation or niggas are thinking like women. I'm going to lead to the former more than the latter. That is complete and utter miseducation. Have y'all niggas ever even looked up the word love in the dictionary? They actually have on there sex. You know what I'm saying? And you wondering why people in the world are confused. You wonder why children grow up and have no concept of what it is to be loved and are damaged in the brain. You know what I'm talking about? But come back over here to Hosea chapter 11. So then he said, I was to them as that take the yoke on their jaws, and I laid out meat unto them. And the reason I reference this is because he's referring to freeing you just like you were freed in Egypt. And that's why we're focusing on it. Now, of course, you got yoke, which is something opposed on the neck. Ayin and Lamah, Ole, you can give me what you have. Get your feet off that refrigerator, boy. You got anything for that, Ayin and Lamar? If not, I got something for you.
Okay.
You say to know discipline. That's what Sean got for me, to know discipline. And for me, the simple fact you can know discipline or simply to know the shepherd. Come over here to Matthew chapter 11. You can pick it up at verse 25. Matthew 11 and 25. At that time, Yahushua answered and said, I thank you, O Abba, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hid these things from the wise and prudent and have revealed them unto babes. Even so, Abba, for it seemed good in your sight. All things are delivered unto me of my Abba. No man know the Son but Abba, neither any man Abba save the Son, and to whomsoever the Son will reveal. Now, see, that's also going back to the same token of what we're getting to in Hosea, in Exodus 4, in Jeremiah, in that Matthew, that ain't nobody going to know anything unless it's delivered unto them and it's revealed to them. You know, most people say that's a cop-out and that's spiritual talk and this, that, there, and the third, because people just want to believe that this is just a piece of literature that you can just study intently and you can get in-depth and great understanding of, and that is not the reality of the matter. I've heard niggas say, there's scholars who study this book like this here, what does that mean? And they can be scholarly all they wish and still don't know what they're talking about. And still be in error. Because I remember this here talking to a dude about this here, and I say, man, well, brother, what school did Jeremiah go to? What university did any of these men go to who you trying to uphold and push? Versus the men who in the text, because these men didn't go to any of these institutions. But you telling me that Yahuwah won't deal with whom he wants to deal with and to give understanding on whom he want to give it to. Yeah, he said, I'm a herdsman, and the gather a sycamore fruit. He said, I'm not a son of a prophet. You know what I'm saying? And that's just being a prophet. You ain't talking about like there was no school that Levites went to. They had to be diligently instructed in their childhood. There ain't no university you sent somebody, a Levite was sent off to. You know what I'm talking about? And what that is that's taking modern sensibilities and trying to transpose them upon Yahuwah and make that be what it is. Yahuwah has been the same from the foundation of the world, and he has not changed one iota since then. He said, come unto me all that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. For I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Now, the reason why I focused on that, because look what he said, I was to them as they that take off the yoke on their jaws. So, you know, the yoke is symbolic of what? Of bondage. Let's look at jaws and let's see what we got there. So, of course, you have jaws, that's leaky. And, of course, that's jaws. Lamad, Kot, and Yod. And that's just simply being separated by the work of the shepherd or separated by the works of discipline. Now, see. And then, of course, he said, and I laid meat unto them. And, of course, you know, he laid out the body of his son for you to be able to devour and to feast upon. Because he called you up out of Egypt. He called you up out of distress. So you have to understand something, right? Proverbs 14 and 34, if I'm not mistaken, say the way of transgressors is hard. So also he say that those who are in sin, they go about mourning. So when you have this going on, you know what I'm talking about? You are in distress. You are in dire straits. You're in double straits, if you will. How can we know this? Because when we read in Exodus chapter 2, what were those people in there doing? Moaning and groaning because of distress. See, our people moan and groan because of distress in this land that we in now, but we don't want to do nothing but complain. That's why I referenced what I referenced before we even started. You either gonna call on Yahuwah, you know what I'm talking about, or you gonna complain about what God ain't doing and what white people doing, or this, that, there, and the third. Because see, most of our people now, they feel like your forefathers feel. If Yahuwah real, why he ain't came through and killed these people? See, they feel just like the people we read about last night. See, when we was offering to the drink offerings and libations to the Queen of Heaven, we ain't had no problems. Where this Yahuwah you talking about at? I'm not following this nigga. See, our people are retarded. I told you, man, one time we were trapping on Buckman, man. I told my homeboy that black people are the stupidest people on the face of the planet. Because all you niggas do is complain about absolutely nothing. You ain't even got nothing to complain about. And the stuff you do complain about, it's in your power to do something about it. And you don't want to do nothing about it but complain. Who the hell wants to hear that? Who's going to take you seriously? How are you as a man going to get respect anywhere in the earth when all you do is complain? I seen a dude say, I don't see Asian women complaining about their women. And then the dude put up clips of multiple Asian men complaining about their women. I don't see white men doing it. Nigga had a whole panel of white men complaining about their women. But see, this is not the issue. Why the hell is any of you niggas complaining about these women? Just don't fool with them. And that'll be the end of that. Because that's what Yahuwah do. He not going to sit here and complain about what the house of Yasharal not going to do or what they doing. I sent some prophets. You ain't want to hear. I'm just not going to deal with you. You can stay over there and you can have your desires and I'll see what your end is going to be. Let me see if you can pull this off without me. You know what I'm talking about? And as black people, you've been in America and you're seeing what you've been doing without him. It don't work. You know what I'm talking about? Because if you got him, you complain. You don't got him, you complain. So that means you ain't never satisfied. And you can't do with nothing with nobody who's never satisfied because they're always demand and demand and demand, and they'll suck your energy dry. And Yahuwah ain't going to let you do him like that. I wouldn't recommend you do it either. You know what I'm talking about? I don't care who it is, mammy, pappy, husband, wife, nobody, whatever the case may be. If all they do is demand and you don't get nothing in return, what's the point? Because Yahuwah wants something in return, wouldn't you say? Or he wants something in return. But what does he desire in return? What's the greatest thing that he desires in return? Above that, he won't trust and faith above the, because the obedience should spring from the trust. He won't faith first. He wants you to yield to him. Everything else take, because if you yield to him, that means you trust his word. So why wouldn't you follow it? You know what I'm talking about? It wouldn't be no problem. You just go ahead and do what you got to do because you know that he's going to fulfill his end of the bargain. And he showed your forefathers this, since we're talking about the wilderness. And as soon as they hit the wilderness, all they did was complain. But they didn't lack for anything. He said, you walked through here, your shoes didn't wax old, your clothes didn't wax old, you never went hungry. All these people tried to kill you. I killed all of them. You know what I'm talking about? And all you were talking about is you had cucumbers, leeks, and melons. You were thinking about when you were in dire straits. See, that's a crazy group of people right there. What was that? Hosea 11? I'm good with that. Come back to Matthew chapter 2. That man loved you enough that he slayed a whole group of people on your behalf. All their sons on your behalf. Let me see. Yeah, the Pharisees did make that statement that they perceived that they were unlearned men, but they had realized that the apostles had walked with Mashiach. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, let's take a look at that real quick. What he talking about? Come over here to the book of Acts. Chapter 4. You can pick it up at verse 1. Acts 4:1. And as they spake unto the people, the priests and the captain of the temple and the Sadducees came upon them, being grieved that they taught the people and preached through Yahushua the resurrection from the dead. See, they can talk till they booty hole catch fire, but you see what they say the apostles were teaching. They were teaching Yahoo that through Yahushua you will resurrect from the dead. That's the number one thing that men ought to be telling people. You know what I'm talking about? But we don't want to do that, because to do that, that requires the Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4 and 5. That's what that requires. That requires a complete and total submission to Yahuwah. Therefore, you believe in his promises. You have an expectation for it. You give your life for it. See, most people are only willing to give just a little bit. Like I just was listening to dudes talking about that, conditional femininity, and dudes were saying, what about? But see, that's a horrible statement that dudes be stating. You know what I'm talking about? Because I done seen about 3-4 people react to this video, and it was a husky woman on the panel, and there was one thing that this husky woman said that nobody dealt with, that submission really deals with how the man submits to himself and how he controls and rules and dominates his own life. You know what I'm saying? That's where that come in at. That's why a man who rules and dominates and controls his own life has a very short tolerance for a woman who does not desire to roll with what he got going on. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to. He's not finna beg. He's not going to plead. He's not going to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? It's only men that get on there and complain. That's conditional. Well, guess what? And she feel like you need to do that. Really, what she telling it, what they really, some of them women really be saying, some women only going to be submissive if you do X, Y, Z. You don't even deal with a woman like that. But what a lot of them saying is, if you niggas had nuts, we get in line. But you niggas ain't got no nuts. So I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do. Because most niggas ain't got no nuts to say, I'm just not going to fool with you. See, that go back to what I was telling you women about most of y'all ain't never been rejected sexually. You know what I'm saying? So the aspect of a man telling you, oh, I'm just not going to deal with you. Most women are not accustomed to that. I'm not putting up with this. I'm not dealing with this. Because most dudes just deal with it. Most dudes just won't leave or tell you to leave. What did Yahuwah tell you to do? Leave. He said, matter of fact, I'll help you out. That for captivity goes to captivity. That for pestilence, that for the sword. That's what he chose to do. Because you didn't want to get in line with what he had going on. He wasn't going to deal with it. The difference between him and the average man is he has a lot more patience and mercy than the average man does. So he gave you a long space. Let me put it to you this way. Do y'all know how long it was from the time that they started bucking till he put them out of Israel? I'm talking about Israel getting taken by the Assyrians. That's referenced in Hosea. Y'all realize how long a period of a time that was? Now, just so you can understand it textual wise, that started from the book of Judges all the way to Kings. So you're talking about they didn't get taken till after Solomon got off the throne and the kingdom got split. That is a very long time before they were taken away. Then when you go to talking about when Judah got taken from Babylon, you're talking about from the book of Judges all the way to who we're reading about now with Zechariah. And you just go through the list of all those kings. That is a very long time before he got rid of you. You know what I'm saying? Like his patience is very, very long. That's a multitude of generations. You know what I'm saying? It's really actually from what we read, at least with Judah, that was almost 28. That was a little under 28 generations before you left. Because he wasn't talking, he didn't mention it was 28 generations from Israel to Syria. He said it was 14 generations from Abraham to David and 14 generations from David to the going in of Babylon. So it's about 20, it's probably about 20 some odd generations, man. Maybe about 23, 24 generations before you went into Babylon. That is a long time. And that is a multitude of people bucking him. And him having the patience not to slaughter them. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm referencing that is to know that Yahuwah has that level of patience, it would just behoove us just to yield. Because now look how long you've been in America. You've been in America, not even say America, you've been exiled for 2,000 plus years. You know what I'm saying? Because it only was about a 30, 40-year period after Mashiach's ascension that Jerusalem was destroyed and you were scattered from up out of there. You know what I'm saying? So now you're talking about 2,000 plus years that you've been separated from this man. This man ain't even playing. Well, you wasn't in Egypt that long. You've been exiled from this man from Mashiach's ascension 5 times longer than what you were being in Egypt. 5 times longer. You were in Egypt 400 plus years. You've been exiled, not just America. I'm talking about exiled as a whole. The whole people. 2,000 plus years. You've been cut off from this man. You know what I'm talking about? See, nobody in the earth understand what love is because everybody in the earth is selfish. You know what I'm talking about? So you're not going to understand it. When you understand you who love, that it hits different. You pay attention to things in a different fashion. You begin to appreciate him more in depthly. Let's continue. Verse 3, Acts 4. And they laid hands on them, put them in hold until the next day, for it was now eventide. Howbeit, many of them which heard the word believed, and the number of men was about 5,000. It came to pass on the morrow that their rulers, elders, and scribes, and Annas, the high priest, and Caphaeus, John, Alexander, and as many as were kindred of the high priest, were gathered together at Jerusalem. And when they had set them in the midst, they asked, by what power or by what name have you done this? Then Peter, filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, said unto them, you rulers of the people and elders of Yasharal, if we this day be examined of the good deed done to the impotent man, by what means is he made whole? Be it known unto you and to all the people of Yasharal by the name of Yahushua HaMashiach of Nazareth, whom you crucified, whom Elohim raised from the dead, by him did this man stand before you whole. This is a stone which was set at naught of you builders, which has become the head of the corner. Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under Shamahim given among men, whereby we must be saved. Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled, and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Yahushua. See, that's what we got going on right now. It's a lot of dudes that they don't take knowledge that they're unlearned and ignorant men. It's a lot of dudes that don't take knowledge that you don't know what you're talking about. Y'all know it. Y'all talk to people. And that's why we're looking at what we look. Come back to Matthew 2, because that man posted something talking about the word, not knowing what he was talking about. How often do y'all see people discussing the word and you realize, like, dang, that nigga don't know what he's talking about?
When they say unlearned, it's saying like they not preached. That what it's saying?
No, I'm saying that they ain't know what they were talking about. Oh, you want to see one? Come over here to Isaiah 29. I give you what you're looking for. Come over here to Isaiah 29. I give you the Greek word for unlearned, if you would like. Unlearned here is aramatos, that is illiterate and unlearned. They were illiterate. No, not probably. No, they were illiterate, because even though they read, they understood not. So yeah, they were illiterate. Isaiah 29, verse 13, I believe. It might be 28 that I'm talking about, that I desire. Oh no, that's 29, but it ain't verse 13. 29 and 9. Stay yourselves and wonder, cry you out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For you who have poured out upon you the ruach of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes. And the prophet and your rulers, the seers, have ye covered. And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men delivered to one that is learned, and said, saying, read this, I pray you. And he said, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned. And he said, I pray you, read. And he said, read this, I pray you. He said, I am not learned. Let's look at what it means in Hebrew to be not learned. Hold on, man. This is a real trip. When you got I'm not learned, I think it has Amar there, and it's one who can't speak. He can't speak on the word because he don't know what he's talking about. I don't think that's it though, because that junk's not pulling up. Because I seen something else on there. Amen. Praise you, Lord, man. Oh, what this guy for learn? It looks like it's just got yada. And if you don't recall what yada means, that's to learn, to know, to distinguish, to be acquainted with, to be revealed to know by experience, to acknowledge, to confess, and to see. So when you look in Hebrew about what it means to not learn, is that they ain't seen it, they don't know it. Come back to Matthew chapter 2. Verse 15. And they were there until the death of Herod, which was spoken of Yahuwah by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the sons that were in Bethlehem, and all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, and Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping, great mourning, Rachel weeping, her children would not be comforted because they are not. Are any of you familiar with this passage that he's referring to? Are any of you familiar with it? I'll take that silence as a no. Yep. The passage that he just quoted. Are any of you familiar with it? Because this is the one I'm referring to that I know that one's not going to stand out because you don't know it like you know the other one. You know Isaiah 7. I know you ain't. I know you don't focus on that Jeremiah because everybody know Isaiah 7. Emmanuel. Well, come over here and look at it in Jeremiah 31. Let's get you acquainted with it then. Correct. Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah 31:7. We finna read where it come from. You can get the context of everything around where that passage come from. Jeremiah 31:7. Thus saith Yahuwah, sing with gladness for Jacob and shout among the chief of the nations, publish you, praise you, and say, O Yahuwah, save your people, the remnant of Yasharal. Behold, I bring them from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth. With them the blind, the lame, and the woman with child, and her that travail with child together. A great company shall return hither. They shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of water in a straight way, where they shall not stumble. For I am a father to Yasharal, and Ephraim, my firstborn. Hear the word of Yahuwah, O you nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he that scattered Yasharal will gather him, and keep him as a shepherd his flock. Yahuwah have redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Therefore shall they come and sing in the height of Zion, and shall flow together to the goodness of Yahuwah. For wheat and for wine and for oil and for the young of the flock and of the herd, and their soul shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all. Then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance, both young men and old together, for I will turn their mourning into joy and will comfort them and make them rejoice from their sorrow. I will satiate the soul of the priest with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, saith Yahuwah. Thus saith Yahuwah, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, bitter weeping. Rachel weeping for her sons, refused to be comforted for her sons because they were not. For thus saith Yahuwah, refrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears. Your work shall be rewarded, saith Yahuwah. They shall come again from the land of the enemy. For there is hope in your end, saith Yahuwah, that your sons shall come again to their own border. I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself. You chastised me, and I was chastised. As a bullock unaccustomed to the yoke, turn you me, and I shall be turned, for you are Yahuwah, my Elohim. Surely after I was turned, I repented, and after that I was instructed, I smote upon my thigh. I was ashamed, yea, even confounded, because I did bear the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spake against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my bowels are troubled for him. I will surely have mercy upon him, saith Yahuwah. I'll leave the rest on to itself. Now, I know I went over a lot of things. I just wanted to go ahead and read it, and now we're going to run it down. We're not going to deal with the first half, because the first half is why this come in. First and foremost, who knows where Ramah is? Well, it'd be difficult to figure because there's multiple places in Ramah. I thought one of you might remember Ramah Gilead. Ramah is a city in Benjamin, about 5 miles from Jerusalem. It's also where Samuel was born. So, as it pertains to Rachel, where is Ramah? Is it Benjamin, or is it where Samuel was born? Let's look at that in that regard. Genesis 42. Do I even want Genesis 42? Let me see it. If not, we might just go to Genesis 35. Let me see if I want Genesis 42. Yeah, let's go over here to Genesis 35. Genesis 35 and 16. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to Ephrath, and Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. It came to pass when she was in hard labor that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, you shall have this son also. And it came to pass as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Beone, but his father called him Benjamin. Rachel died and was buried in Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. Jacob set a pillar upon her grave. That is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. Do y'all remember what Beoni means? Who recalls what that means? Where your dad at? Huh? Little boy, where your dad at? You ain't giving no medicine? Well, why you ain't doing? What? How do I know you tried?
No, I don't know how to drive.
You don't know how to drive?
Yeah, I know.
What that got to do with anything? Why you don't know how to drive?
Because I'm not even big enough.
Why you ain't big enough?
I did. Because I'm not even tall.
Why you ain't tall?
Because I gotta grow up.
Why you ain't grown up?
Because I'm not this kid.
Why you just a goat? Because you don't know why you're a goat? You said you're a kid. A kid is a baby goat.
I don't know.
Oh, you just don't know how to drive. Any of y'all remember what Beoni mean? Son of my sorrow. Now you see this, how this relates back to this 31 and 15. You're hearing Rachel heard in Ramah lamenting because she's having hard labor, a labor in which she died, bitter weeping. She was weeping for her son, but she refused. Refuse, of course, is ma'an, which is to refuse. she refused comfort for her children because they were not comforted. Now, how does this pertain? Now, this is referring to what? Of course, the sons that were being slaughtered in Bethlehem as they were trying to kill Mashiach. But let's take it a step further, because Yahuwah says, refrain from your weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work will be rewarded. Well, let's take a look at this John 16 one time for the one time. Because he was like, they trying to conflate this. But see, of course, he wouldn't know that Rachel died giving birth to the son of her sorrow, which is the son of my right hand, which is taking us back to that he brought you with what? Cords and bands of love. Is it not? You recall that? Do you remember? The Hosea 11. Look at it. Look at the Lord. (16 and 20). Truly, truly, I say unto you that you shall weep and lament, but the world shall rejoice. But you shall be sorrowful, but your sorrow shall be turned into joy. A woman, when she is in travail, have sorrow because her hour is come. And what we seen with Mashiach, he was exceedingly sorrowful because his hour was come. Exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Were you very sorrowful before you gave birth to him? What you cheesing for? Nigga, you experienced it. Like he gonna know, like he pushed that baby out his bowels. Were you sorrowful? I'm asking you. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. I mean, did you go in and like, yeah, this is a joyous experience, or did you have some sadness when, as he stated, as those pains? Because he talking about travail, he talking about pain. That's what he said. A woman, when she's in pain, have sorrow. But did you have sorrow?
I'm like, yeah, she did.
Did you call him all type of names? That's what they be showing on TV. I just be asking, do y'all really be doing all that? Oh, she was in there crying? Well, you were sorrowful then, baby. I mean, we can understand if you don't remember. You were working. I don't
think I can do it. Oh, at the end, like when he came out, I was crying.
I can imagine that's a high level of pain. On a scale of 1 to 10, how painful was it? I'm just asking. I don't know. Oh yeah, Michael Ryan told me a story about when he seen his firstborn son born, and they said his wife was having a C-section, and they took something, and his son had a head full of hair, and they took a plunger, and they kept hitting the boy head with the plunger, so it would just pop in and out the cut. Yep. He said he almost passed out. I know I'd have passed out.
It's gruesome.
He told me I was looking behind the curtain. I say, shoot, that's where I'm gonna be. They don't keep it together. I'm not gonna be at the entryway. I can't. I seen that in high school. I knew right then and there, boy. I ain't want to be no doctor. Dead serious, boy. Them showed that doggone video. That baby went to part in that doggone vagina. I said, "Oh Lord, no, all the blood."
That's what it was. Yeah, blood.
Wow, I was queasy. You know what I'm saying? I done seen 2 people get shot, boy, and that blood ain't do me like that. That birth, that shoot, trust me. I seen the 2 people get shot after I seen the video of the birth. That junk ain't hit me like, oh my God, no. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that junk, whatever, tough. But what he was talking about with that plunger? No, cuz.
He ain't lying though. That's what I want my son.
Yeah, the nigga said he just seen his head.
Trying to get him out.
Should just let her push him out. Oh, Saran said he seen it. Saran said it's not for the faint-hearted. He's seen it 2 times. Well, I know my heart faint. I ain't trying to be funny. Man, shoot. That's one of the biggest problems. Niggas be trying to be macho and tough like this here. Man, I know I can't look at all that blood and maintain my composure. I've already had the experience.
Nah, they don't warn you either.
I'm not gonna be at the entry point. I'm not gonna be nowhere near that because I already know I can't deal with it. So why would I put myself in a position to have to fall out, vomit, pass out? That doesn't make any sense. Now the focus on me instead of where it need to be on is on her and the baby. So let me just be behind the bed. 16 and 20.
I was ready to get it over with. He was ready to get it over with.
Nah.
It was amazing. Like Jason Lee said.
I bet it is, and I'm not knocking it. But I seen that at 16, and I know I ain't got the stomach for it. For real, they showed us that in biology class, man. Showed the whole video of a lady having a baby, man.
Oh, it was wrong. She didn't give us that.
Yeah, he did his own thing.
Shit.
I almost passed out looking at it on video.
Oh, man.
Like my statement over the years, y'all stay. That's because I seen that on that. I said, oh, no, I can't deal. I can't take that.
But you're older, more mature now.
Okay.
Say that don't matter.
And what the hell they getting paid for?
Yeah, you definitely hold the leg.
You never know what position you're in. It's not the whole fucking.
Now I'll be holding the hospital bed because I'm gonna be in it. Because I know I'm a fan. 16 and 20. I ain't being funny, boy. Oh, she got attitude. 16 and 20.
Clark, sit down.
Truly, truly, I say unto you, that you shall weep and lament, but the world shall rejoice. And you shall be sorrowful, but your sorrow shall be turned into joy. A woman, when she's in travail, has sorrow because her hour is come. But as soon as she's delivered of the child, she remember no more the anguish for joy that a man is born into the world. And now you therefore have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man will take from you. Now she looking at, she can't be comforted because her children weren't being comforted because they were under attack. But he told you to rejoice because there's a reward for your labor. 1 Corinthians 15, one time real quick, like. Well, you all right, boy? 1 Corinthians 15 and 54. I appreciate that, man. So when this corruptible have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is your sting? O grave, where is your victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to Elohim, which give us the victory through our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be you steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Now, as we return back over here to this Jeremiah, he told you to refrain your voice from weeping and your eyes, for your work will be rewarded. Now, when you look at refraining your eyes from weeping, did Mashiach make any statements about weeping while he was suffering or about to be killed? Are you familiar with any statements such as that? Because he said there's hope in your end that your children will return again to their own border. Indeed. Let's go to Luke 22. My junk ain't working no more over here. There's a problem with this page. It cannot be viewed. No, that's the end of that. Luke 23, actually. I'm sorry about that. Luke 23 and 26. That's right. There it is. And as they led him away, they laid hold upon one Simon Cyrenian coming out of the country, and on him they laid the stake that they might bear it after Yahushua. And there followed him a great company of people of women, which also bewailed and lamented him. But Yahushua, turning unto them, said, Daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your sons. For behold, the days are coming in which they shall say, Baruch are the barren, and the wombs that never bear, and the paps which never gave suck. Then shall they begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills cover us. For if they do these things in a green tree, what shall be done in the dry? And what do you have right there? Rachel weeping for her children, but refused to be comforted because her children were not, or her son was not. Because was Yahushua comforted in this matter? No, he was not. Not at this time. When did he receive his comfort? Well, clearly y'all know when he received his comfort. When he resurrected from the dead. That's why he was able to return from the land of the enemy, so you could be able to be returned to your borders of which you departed from. See, that's also goes back to the statement in Hebrews about you desiring a city. Now, I know Sean asked about some stuff in Isaiah 7, and we'll get to that in a moment. But we need to jump over here to Jeremiah 45 real quick. Say the word that Jeremiah the prophet said unto Baruch, the son of Neriah, when he had written these words in a book at the mouth of Jeremiah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, Malachah, Yehudah, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, the Elohim of Yasharal, unto you, O Baruch. You did say, Woe is me now, for Yahuwah have added grief to my sorrow. I fainted in my siding, I find no rest. Thus shall you say unto him, Yahuwah saith thus, Behold, that which I will break down, and that which I have planted will I pluck up, even the whole land. And seek you great things for yourself, seek not. For behold, I will bring evil upon all flesh, saith Yahuwah, but your life will I give unto you for a prey, and all the places where you go. Now, we just discussed about giving for a prey. And you know that's for a salal, a booty, a spoil. All those who will be a Mashiach are going to be spoiled. How do we know this? 2 Timothy chapter 3. You can pick it up at verse 10. Shalom, Brother Craig. 2 Timothy 3 and 10, but you have fully known my doctrine, manner of life, purpose, faith, long suffering, charity, patience, persecutions, afflictions, which come unto me at Antioch, at Iconium and Lystra, what persecutions I endured out of them. Out of them all the Lord delivered me. Yea, all that will live godly in Mashiach Yahushua shall suffer persecution. Evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. See, no matter where you go, if Mashiach be with you, you're going to be a prey. Individuals are going to seek to spoil you. That's why he said it, and he mentioned Isaiah 59, because there was no intercessor. There was no judgment. It's going to seem like ain't nobody going to stand up on your behalf. But as he told you in Ecclesiastes, what did he tell you? If there be oppression in the province, is not he higher than high? Does he not see it? See, most people feel like injustices get done against them, and most people are not getting done wrong. You're just not getting what you want. You know what I'm talking about? Especially when you look at it on a more global or larger scale or national scale, most people are not being done evil. If you look at if you just be honest with you, how many times have you actually been done evil? Like somebody really did evil unto you. Like they really went out of their way to wrong you and purposely cause injury. It doesn't happen as much. Most of the time, we just don't agree with things that people say or do. But you're talking about intentionally be evil? There's some people on the earth that intentionally do evil. But I'm talking about the average everyday person has not encountered a multitude of individuals that are just consistently and constantly doing them evil. You had
You like,
Well, don't do it, cuz it's gonna end bad for you. Don't go out like that. You done already caught one, cuz don't catch another. Come on back, because I told you we talk about Pharaoh Hophra in Jeremiah 44. And also on the weeping tip, if you recall in the book of Zechariah, what did he say? Sons of Levi weeping apart with their wives apart. You recall that? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Y'all looking like y'all know what I'm talking about. I guess we got to look at it because niggas looking at me stupid. Zechariah chapter 12. Oh, this yours, Bird? This mine now. Oh, it must not be yours. Yeah, that's right.
Let's see how long you gonna say.
Bird looking like shoot.
Okay,
It ain't mine anyway. Zechariah 12 and 10. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the ruach of mercy and of supplications. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourn for his only. Now, of course, it say only, and it's got son in parentheses, so son ain't there. Let's see what it actually says.
For the word mourn.
No, because what it has is it has your kid. Y'all remember your kid? You should remember it from Psalm 68. Your kid. It means one, solitary, aka only begotten son. Y'all don't remember that from Psalm 68? Psalm 68 and 6. Elohim set solitary in families. He bring out those which were bound with chains, but the rebellious dwell in the dry land. Elohim set the only begotten son in families, in the house, in the bot, to bring out those who were bound with chains, because you bound with the chains of death. That's why it's got son in there, because of the word, the Hebrew word that's there. Your kid, if you will. Yod, Kot, Yod, and Dalet. Only begotten son. He said you will mourn as one mourn for his own. And of course you see that it's a common theme. Firstborn son. And shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. And of course y'all should know firstborn is Bakor, firstlings of men, so on and so forth. And that day there should be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadrimmon in the valley of Megadon. And the land shall mourn, every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the families of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, the family of Shimei apart, and their wives apart, and the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. Do y'all remember Shimei? That's excuse me. That's of the house of Levi. That's the priest. I know you remember Nathan, not the prophet Nathan, but you seen Nathan in what? In that genealogy. You don't recall Nathan in the genealogy? Yes, sir. That's Nathan. That's Bathsheba's boy. Basically, what you're seeing is the house of David and the house of Levi set apart. Why is that? Why? Now, let me ask you this here. Why, out of all the tribes to mention of them mourning for the firstborn and the only begotten, why is only Judah and Levi mentioned? Who can scripturally answer that question? Let me get that water, cuz that's yours, Bird. Where yours at?
In the bag.
Oh, that.
You gonna tell me? You gonna tell me?
Thank you. I'm gonna take that with me, cuz. Y'all don't know why Judah and Levi is mentioned specifically? It's something we done read since we've been dealing with this entire matter with these genealogies. I can tell you that much. Those are. Anyone else? Anyone else like to take a stab? You said, does it have to do anything with the firstborn? No. Don't got nothing to do with the firstborn.
No.
Oh, well.
Yep. Oh, well.
You said, oh well.
No.
Anybody on the screen? Why Judah and Levi only being mentioned in this Zechariah 12 and no other tribe? Yo. That's what we're gonna do to your butt. Kings and priests, no sir. Going once? Going twice? Anybody on the stream besides Saran? Oh, that's just disgusting, boy. Say excuse me.
I didn't.
You ain't say excuse me. Nobody hear you. That is correct, sir. The southern kingdom. Because in 1 Kings chapter 11, he said that he would leave under Judah one tribe, and that tribe would be Levi. And that's why you see that there. Levi didn't obtain a birthright in the wilderness. Levi didn't obtain anything. Levi became the priest because Levi was substituted for the firstborn. But that's not a birthright thing. Yeah, the priesthood wasn't a birthright thing. That wasn't the birthright is pertaining to rulership. That's why he said, and the birthright is not to be reckoned after the genealogy because it's supposed to went to Joseph, but Judah prevailed. When you deal with the priesthood, that's not a birthright thing. You know what I'm talking about? The high priesthood is set after the sons of Aaron, after the flesh, but law-wise, the priesthood was given unto Levi instead of taking the firstborn out of every house of the house of Yasharal. Where we were going at now? I think we were still in Jeremiah 44. I just was putting Isaiah 7 on deck. Because Buddy did mention Isaiah 7 and what he had to say also. But the Isaiah 7 one is the easiest one. That's the one he referenced. And again, that's why my point, why certain stuff is easier to reference. Of course, he's going to reference Isaiah 7. You know what I'm talking about? Because everybody knows Isaiah 7. He's not going to talk about Jeremiah 31 because don't nobody know about Rachel weeping in Ramah and weeping for her children. You would have to know the text to know why Rachel would be even mentioned about weeping because her son, she died having her son. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. That's the case in point of individual talking about the word and they not actually knowing what it says. So at the end of Jeremiah 44, right, we looked at a sign. It's verse 28 that we'll look at. Yet shall a small number escape of the sword shall return out of the land of double straits into the land of praise. All the remnant of praise that are gone into the land of double straits to sojourn there shall know whose word shall stand, mine or theirs. And this a sign unto you, saith Yahuwah, that I will punish you in this place, that you may know that my word shall surely stand against you for evil. Thus saith Yahuwah, behold, I give you Pharaoh Hophra, Malik of Mizraim, into the hand of his enemies, and to the hand of them that seek his life. As I gave Zechariah, Malik of Yehuda, into the hand of Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, and his enemy that sought his life. Now, I know I previously referenced it on our way out the door. But if you don't recall, with Pharaoh Hophra, his name meant what? The great house covering evil. And he said he would give him to his enemies that sought his life. See, the first thing should have came to your mind with John chapter 2, because he spake of the temple of his body. Now, let's take a look at this Haggai chapter 2.
All the Pharaoh's name mean great house.
Yeah, all of Pharaoh's name mean great house, at least in Hebrew. 2 and 4. Haggai chapter 2, verse 4. Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith Yahuwah. Be strong, O Yahushua, son of Jehozadak, the high priest. Be strong, all you people of the land, saith Yahuwah, and work. For I am with you, saith Yahuwah of hosts. And again, what is he telling them to do? To work, because your labor is not in vain with Yahuwah. To the word that I covenanted with you when you came out of Mizraim, so my Ruach remain among you, fear not. That's another thing that our people do not understand. That he did make a covenant with us, and even though in disobedience and in separation, his spirit still remains amongst this people. And he's also renewed this covenant, as you know, because he said, take, drink, this is my body, which is the new covenant, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. So his Ruach remain. See, they don't even sit back and pay attention to how he let you know that he was going to bless you with his spirit and that his spirit will be amongst you. Because pause. What did it say in John chapter 14? If you love me, do what? And he said, I will give you a comforter. And he said that comforter will do what? Abide with you forever. He said, for thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, yet once is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry. And I will shake all nations, and the desired nation shall come, and I will fill this house with esteem, saith Yahuwah of hosts. The silver is mine, the gold is mine, saith Yahuwah of hosts, and the esteem of this latter house shall be greater than the former, saith Yahuwah of hosts. And in this place will I give shalom, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Now listen what he said, the latter house would be what? Greater. Yahushua is this greater house that covers evil. And he took this greater house that covers evil, and he delivered him into the hand of his enemies or those who sought his life. How many times did Mashiach say, it's not my time yet? What did he say? The Son of Man is to be betrayed into the hand of who? Sinners. And that he knew that these people were going to suffer him and do what? And kill him. And he said that would be a sign. Remember, when you're dealing with the text and you're dealing with something that say that's a sign, which is a wonder, let's just get that Hebrew word for sign, because it's escaping my brain at this moment. Oath, as I should have known off the top. Sign, signal, distinguishing mark, remembrance, but most importantly, a miraculous sign, a miracle or proof, a token. So when you see him talking about this is a sign, which will allow us to segue right over here to Isaiah chapter 7.
Leave a blanket. Put the blanket.
Isaiah 7:1. It came to pass in those days, Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, Malach of Yehudah, Rezin, the king of Syria, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Yasharal, went up towards Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. It was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim. His heart was moved, the heart of his people, as the trees of the wood are moved with the wind. When Yahuwah said Yahuwah unto Isaiah, go forth now to meet Ahaz, you, Shearshib, your son, and at the end of the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. They said unto him, take heed and be quiet. Fear not, neither be faint-hearted, for the two tails of these smoking firebrands, for the fierce anger of Rizwan with Syria and the son of Remaliah. Because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have taken evil counsel against you, saying, let us go up against Yehudah and vex it. Let us make a breach therein for us and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabiel. Now, taking this past into the latter times, if you would. Do y'all have any idea where you had a Gentile nation, the house of Yasharal, and a ruler of Yasharal that say, let us go up against Jerusalem and destroy it? If nothing comes to your mind immediately, you should recall from Daniel chapter 10 that he would make a covenant with all those who forsake the Kadash covenant and work evil with them. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? All right, you look like you don't. Daniel chapter 10. That's okay. Because you ain't the only one. Well, it might be 11 I actually need. Daniel chapter 11. 11 and 28. Daniel 11 and 28. Then he shall return into his land with great riches, and his heart shall be against the Kadash covenant. He shall do and return to his own land. And at that time appointed, he shall return and come towards the south, but it shall not be as the former or as the latter. For the ships of Shittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have an indignation against the Kadash covenant. So shall he do. He even shall return and have intelligence with them that forsake the Kadash covenant. Do y'all remember what having intelligence means?
Come on, sit down.
Agreement?
No, not agreement.
Come on.
He said have an agreement. It don't mean have an agreement. What does intelligence mean? In this passage, he said he'll have intelligence with those who forsake the Kadash covenant. Oh, y'all forgotten? How what? To an extent, but not directly. Who forsake the Kadash covenant? Oh, I could smell the Coca-Cola strong. You can smell that. You smell that Coca-Cola. Smell that Coca-Cola. Well, shoot, look it up.
Is it like a meeting or something?
To instruct. That's why I say to give information, but not directly, because he's going to teach them, and he's going to teach them his covenant. The same way that you see Syria, Rimalah, and Ephraim go up against Jerusalem. Remember that. What is the beast going to do? Have everybody gather up to go to war against this man and to besiege Jerusalem. We just talked about that a couple weeks ago, did we not? Let's look at the next thing it got to say. And his arm shall stand on his part and shall pollute the sanctuary of strength. He shall take away the daily. And that's right, he's going to steal Yahuwah's word. And they shall place the abomination that make desolate. Now notice a lot of people are talking about sacrifice in that verse. Sacrifice is not there. It just says daily. Let's look and see what it actually says. And what you have there is tamed, continuity, perpetuity, continually. What is he going to seek to take away? He's going to seek to take away the continuity of the word, the continuation of the word. Because what will you be persecuted for in those days? For his name's sake. It's not that he's going to take away the sacrifice. It can mean sacrifice, but tamed means continuity or perpetuity. He's going to seek to take away the word. And then, of course, what did Daniel tell you? Well, I mean, what did Yahushua tell you when you see the abomination desolate that stand in that place? People think that's dealing with when what's the name sacrificed that pig on the altar. Oh, no. That man is going to make Jerusalem have to become desolate because Yahuwah will be offended because a man will stand in the place where he placed his name at and say that he is Yahuwah.
You already got some.
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries, but the people that do know their Elohim shall be strong and do. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet shall they fall by the sword, by flame, by captivity, and by spoil days. Look what he said. Those that understand are going to be able to instruct people to serve Yahuwah. Notice the key point that he said, they that understand. I'm telling you right now, a lot of these broods don't understand. Boy, a lot of them niggas going to get killed. They're going to get killed. And they're going to get other people killed. That's why he say those that are without understanding are worthy of death. And that's why you're going to get killed, because you're going to serve the beast. You worthy of death. Back to Isaiah chapter 7. Who that is? That little Joe? Seven and 5, Isaiah. Appreciate it, cuz. I needed that. I like pineapple. I got pineapple right here. Now I got pineapple right here. What you gonna do? See, you've been gamed. It's yours? What you gonna do about it?
I'm gonna drink it.
No, how you gonna drink it and it's mine?
But it wasn't there.
What?
It wasn't there.
Now it's over here. You seem confused, bewildered. You don't seem like you understand what's going on.
But my mommy gave me that.
And now she gave it to me.
Gave it to you?
Yeah, because it's right here.
But she's not even here.
She's not.
She didn't even give it to you.
But it's now it's mine. Does that offend you? Would you like it? Give me $20.
It's in my room.
Better get to the house then.
So where's the hard drive?
Shoot, better fly, better walk, better catch a boat. Because I need $20 for this. For this caramel probiotic water, pineapple mango. You don't even know what that is.
My mommy told me that. It's that kind.
What you gonna give me for the water, man? Seven and what? 5. Because Syria, Ephraim, the son of Remelah, have taken evil counsel against you, saying, let us go up under Yehuda and vex it. Let us make a breach therein for us and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabiel. Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is risen. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it shall not be a people. What does that mean about not being a people? That means that Yahuwah will remove them off of his land. You should know that from Hosea. And the place that it says that, come on ahead and look at it. Don't even deal with it. Hosea chapter 2. Hosea chapter 2, verse 19. And that's still kind of into, because we didn't deal to talk a lot about it, what was preceding, before, and after that Jeremiah 31 with Rachel weeping. But you notice that he talked about a deliverance and that he wanted them to be comforted in the fact that your offspring shall return. See, that's what a lot of black people look at. They want us to believe our heaven is going to come after we die and this, that, there, and the third, because nobody wants you to trust in Yahuwah. And the reason being is niggas talk that trash, but like I mentioned before, y'all ain't going to go to war with these people and overthrow it. Niggas don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't really, because don't nobody want to die. See, what it is you want somebody else to fight the battle and lose their life so you can reap the benefit of it. That's what you really want. You want a band of married men to take their weapons and their lives and sacrifice it. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about no women, because we know ain't no women gonna fight. I'm talking about what dudes want. Because these dudes don't want to die. Because I'm trying to tell you, to overthrow these people, we would be smashed. And the reason why we'd be smashed is for one reason and one reason alone. Because niggas don't stick together. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas don't stick together. Because you know all it's gonna take is some white man to offer you a little bit of change, boy, and the nigga gonna turn. I ain't even talking about their weaponry, their technology, or none of that. Niggas don't stick together. I know they ain't gonna admit it, but I'm gonna tell it for them. I'll tell the tale for them, because I know they ain't gonna admit it. These niggas don't want to die, they want somebody else to die. And niggas don't stick together. Bro, I just heard a dude say this the other day, man. He was like, everybody got a price. And I'm like, speak for yourself. But true, and he was talking about in regards to coaching. They were talking about Brian Kelly, the coach of the Notre Dame, left to go to LSU. But you know why he left to go to LSU? Because they offered him $95 million.
He just the price. That ain't just the price, though.
But I mean, but what he's saying is not off the realms of reality. Most people can be purchased. You know what I'm saying? That's why we done said that before by women. Like, nigga, what? If a nigga come telling you, yo, nigga making 150 bands, and this nigga talking about he got 150 million, man, 99.9% of women are out. All that love and the devotion you have for this nigga is going out the window. 99.9. It's a few that'll turn it down and resent that nigga for the rest of their days that they turned it down. A nigga who got 150 million talking about come with me. Boy, niggas selling their souls for less. Because that's an extreme amount that I'm mentioning. People selling out for less. Niggas is selling out for 10, 20 bands. Come on, man. Niggas, man, women leaving they niggas for a nigga who make $10 an hour more. But see, what y'all stating is the very thing that everybody want to say. Not me. I wouldn't sell my soul. I can't be bought. Average person can be bought. Because the average person, you know why the average person can be bought? It's not because you have such a strong devotion to the man. It's not that you have such strong devotion to your ideals, but you're led by your lust. And though that's why most people can be bought. See, if you're not led by your lust, if you're not covetous, if you don't desire the pleasures of the flesh, then you can't be bought. But if you have fleshly desires and you led by your lust, you gonna get bought. I don't care who you with. You know what I'm talking about? That's why I said that. We said speak for yourself. I ain't led by my lust, so I don't care about what you offering. Because remember, shoot, Satan tried to buy the Lord. Did he not? He tried it. The reason why he couldn't buy him is because he wasn't led by his lust. Because guess what? What's the name tried to buy Balaam, and what Balaam did? Took the wages of unrighteousness. Straight up took it. And he knew what you were told him to do. But that nigga said, boy, that money look good, boy. That money look good, boy. See, we have to stop dealing with junk on some fantasy type junk and just be real with yourself. If people have an opportunity to get something that they feel like they wouldn't have gotten otherwise, they gonna jump on it. And niggas just have to be honest with themselves when people do it, and you won't get upset.
That's what that Squid Game showed.
No, I ain't know what.
But that was pretty much the premise. Showing that you put, yeah, that's what I was saying. It literally showed that premise. You put money in front of people, whatever position that they're in, they still gonna go for it. Even the dude in the end who won all the money still went back for it.
Yeah, because people greedy. He's saying if you're not careful, you can be bought and don't even know you were for sale. Because Satan is very subtle. He ain't lying. You didn't even know you were for sale. And you know why the most part why he making this talk to you? Just what he just said. Because the average person don't even know they for sale. Average person don't even know they for sale. Man, most of these niggas sell their soul and they booty hole in a heartbeat. Don't even think nothing of it. You know what I'm talking about? Like I said, the only reason why we say that because the opportunity don't arise. But you need to be careful. Am I for sale? Would I take that opportunity if it arises? Because you know what usually happens with somebody who for sale and they get offered something that they feel like better, it blow up in their face because it was some strings attached. It was some stuff you wasn't ready for. You know what I'm saying? Now you got full-fledged evil on your hands because you thought it was a better situation. And that's what Satan be looking for because he know you niggas stupid. when it comes to the upgrade of life. People too materialistic, at least in America. You know what I'm talking about? So money is the easiest way to get niggas. It's two things that you can got with in America: money and status. Because people want status, adulation, fame, and praise. You know what I'm saying? Same way I was looking at that lady talking about that, and she played that clip talking about when Chris Rock was talking to that lady, talking about women want to be worshipped. Average woman want to be worshipped. You know what I'm saying? That's vanity of the mind. All it takes. And Satan know this. You know what I'm talking about? And Satan knows this. And he used it against them every time. See, everybody ain't here, right? Sean put the clip in there. You know what I'm talking about? That lady talking about she was 32 years old when she realized she ain't had nothing to offer no man. You know, that's tough. But she also was discussing numerous amount of things that she had issues with in her own life, that when she realized this is why I ain't got nothing to offer. You know what I'm talking about? We didn't have that conversation before. If you was to take cooking, cleaning, and coochie off the table, what do you really have to benefit a man's life? Because you're demanding that he benefits you. But what benefit does he going to get from you? Because you might not seen it. They had that conversation, who benefits more in marriage, women or men? Who do you say benefits the most?
I said woman. Yeah.
Why would you say a woman benefits the most?
I mean, just looking at what a man would have to pretty much give up. I think it's a sacrifice for a man in that sense.
What about you, Darius? You say the woman? You brother can chime in at your leisure. What about you, Sylvia? Who you say benefit the most? What would lead you to say that?
Just looking at how things are in America, especially once it go wrong, we get everything.
What about you, little Johnny?
Yeah.
That's the one.
Why would you say that?
She getting taken care of.
You say she getting room and board? What about you, little Stanley?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I say, who do you believe benefits in marriage more, men or women, and why?
Women, because men have the whole responsibility to provide and lead the household.
What about you, Monte?
The wife.
Well, and why would you say that? I mean, these people, they had multiple people on there that had different perspectives. Because a few of them said men benefit more. Matter of fact, an overwhelming majority of the people on that panel said men benefited more. Yeah, they did. Some cited studies, you know what I'm saying, and research that had been done. It wasn't just definitely just throwing that out there. That's why I'm asking y'all opinion. We'll say the women, because she benefit like we benefit from serving Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, one of the sensible situations they mentioned was that men who are married live longer, that they're wealthier, and things of that sort that I can recall off the top of my head. Ladies, who do y'all believe benefits more? Who you believe benefit more? And what makes you say that? You ain't jumping in front of no bullets.
Because the man provides, the man does everything. But it's kind of funny because I saw this thing on the shade room, and it was like,
That's your favorite room?
not listening. And it was like the woman had the man's
Spousal support?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, so she must have been making all the money, going out working. I don't know. I was like, it's just an example. Just made me think about that.
It does happen. Matter of fact, we went to something one day, and that white lady was complaining about her having to pay spousal support to her husband. That white lady was mad.
I guess he benefited.
I guess so. What about you, Deidre? And what would make you say that? What about you, Lisa?
provision with protection. The burden is always on the man, and he carries the burden. So we just, you know, I feel like the benefits will outweigh. I feel like it outweighs.
Well, what you say, Michael? Huh? I can't hear you. Why would you say that? Lisa said 2-parent home, the children, but that's not the question, man. Because, hey, I'm going to tell you something. Because somebody on the panel I was looking at said the same thing. The children. You know what I'm talking about? But we're not talking about the children. Because truth be told, in a marriage, the children probably do benefit the most. You know what I'm talking about? But that's another conversation. That wasn't the question.
Yeah, that's all the question.
What about you, Callie? And what are you basing that off of? But what basis off of that? Because that sounds you like you're copping out on it. Sound like you need to put it to work. What about you, Mom? Huh? Why do you say that? Now, I think I said what she said last night, if I don't recall. It's both. But you know why most men don't benefit as much as they could? It's because you don't demand it. You don't demand certain things to get a benefit from her. You know what I'm saying? That's why the lady was on there talking about removing cooking, cleaning, and physical appearance and sex. You know what I'm saying? Because there should be some type of benefit that she's giving to you. You know what I'm saying? Of course, her benefit is not going to equal the protection and provision and leadership, but her benefit to you is going to be based off of what you demand that she gives to you. You know what I'm saying? Which most men are not even taught to demand anything from a woman to begin with. Or like I think a lot of people in that group of men, they've been going back and forth because I don't know too much about that Toby nigga and his wife. But I guess a lot of niggas was upset because he said that he made her prove herself to him that she was worthy to be his wife. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of men are not taught to do that. And a lot of women find that offensive because he said that he was annoyed with her, I guess, when he met her. But women say that all the time. I didn't care for him when I first met him. Yeah, that's how it's the both. You know what I'm saying? That's what one of the dudes on there was talking about because he owns a business. Like, you know, I had already been shown that early in life that I was just with somebody yesterday who owned a business and his wife works in his business. Most people who have a lot of money, their wife work in their business and they fully dedicated to that because his success is her success. She benefits him and his whatever he built benefits her. So there's an equal benefit one to another. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we live in a country where everybody looking at like who benefits the most, and somebody got to benefit the most. Mainly like what he looked at. Oh, if she leaves, she gets this and she get that. Well, that's not a benefit to her because once she leaves and she get what she gets, she ain't getting no more. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? You can still have the ability to build and recreate depending on what you were doing for a living. But once she get what she get, that's over with for her. She ain't getting nothing else. And then she gonna have to go out there and recreate and then find somebody willing to do what you had already been done with the explanation of why you not with the nigga who you was married to and had kids with. You know what I'm saying? You don't get perpetual benefits when you slide. It stops. You know what I'm talking about? Now, Jessica stated if they both doing it part, they can believe both can benefit. The man does what he needs to succeed. The woman will always benefit from that. Because when you look at Yahuwah and Yasharal, of course we know on your benefit. Huh?
You said someone in
Yeah.
the chat said that. Ask them what part is the woman bringing?
He wants to know, Mate wants to know what part is the woman bringing. No, that's not a bad question because see, the part that the woman bringing is contingent on what skills that she has, and do you even ask for her to bring it? Because most dudes don't even ask for them to bring. Most dudes are content with cooking, cleaning, and cooching. It's only a rare breed of men that they're not content with that's not enough for them. You know what I'm saying? Because a nigga could hire somebody to meal prep. You can hire a cleaner. Shoot, we were just looking at this here. Niggas paying niggas to wash their clothes. This woman just said she made $5,000 a week washing niggas' clothes. And I seen on there they charging $15 a load. So if they're charging $15 a load, do you know how many loads of laundry that would take to make 5 bands?
Might as well sit in her folding.
That's a lot of money, bro. That junk got me like, nigga, should we be washing niggas' clothes? You know what I'm talking about? That's $20,000 a month.
Easy.
Gross pay, nigga. That's $250,000 a year.
I was a laundryman.
Ooh, I was a laundryman in prison. Shoot. Watch these niggas draw, man. These niggas been skeeting all in their boxes, man.
They got niggas peeing in the bed and all.
I'm talking about who he lying. Niggas don't wipe themselves good. But see, they got laundry bags, though. You know what I'm saying? They throw that in there. Niggas that. Come on, man. I'm waiting.
I told you,
Light right there.
334 loads is 5,000.
And if you multiply that, divide that by 6, that's about almost 55 loads a day. That's a little bit too young. That's about 330. That's 55 loads a day. Because we ain't counting no Sabbath. Them people do Sabbath. So that's 7. So they doing about 334 into 7. That's 28, 54. So they doing like 47 loads a day. And you got to drive and fold them now. You got to drive and fold them.
Yeah, that's a full service.
That's full service.
Full service.
I'm the person load them. You fold them. 20 a week.
Good busted.
Good.
I'm gonna have a labor. I ain't washing them niggas' clothes, man.
I'm trying to tell you, it's a bust down.
Yeah, but should I have a couple laborers, nigga? We get that bread, man. Shoot, if I could make a stack off of it, nigga, I ain't did nothing. I just secured the work. You young niggas eat, nigga. Wash them drawers, nigga. Starch and press. I'm talking about. But shoot, Monte had a question on that, Jessica. What does the woman bring? Let me move on while she coming up with that. Hosea 2:19. And I will betroth you unto me forever. I will betroth you unto me in righteousness and in judgment and in loving kindness and in mercies. I will even betroth you unto me in faithfulness. And you shall know Yahuwah. And it shall come to pass in that day I will hear, saith Yahuwah, I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth. And the earth shall hear the corn and the wine and the oil, and they shall hear Jezreel. And I will sow unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her who have not obtained mercy. And I will say to them which were not my people, you are my people, and they shall say, you are my Elohim. Yeah, shoot, we'll say that's a lot of detergent. If you're paying the laundromat, you might be paying about $7 a load in your pocket. Sean said they charge by the pound at his laundromat. I would wager anybody who's doing that is probably purchasing dish detergent in bulk. No, he's saying that you could probably put in about $7 a load in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Which is about right, because you're going to have expenses, but I was just talking about gross. You know what I'm talking about? I wash my own clothes. Bump that junk. She said her answer would have been, it really depends on what that man needs, because every man is different. But is this accurate? And I know that frustrates a lot of women when they ask, what do men want? And there's no general specific answer for that, because every man is different. You know what I'm saying? Usually with women, it's a universal answer in a lot of key categories. But for most men, it's different, because it depends on the man. You know what I'm saying?
Like, it's just whatever you love.
No, but it's saying is what I'm talking about is if you get a group of women, because I done seen women talk about this, and they say, well, what do men want from a woman? There's not a general answer because it's really specific to that each and every individual man. Because there's not a blank, like most women, you go to most women, they want you to give them some attention, take care of me, lead. Like you're going to get a general answer that's going to go across the board for the mass majority of women. But you're not going to get that general answer with the mass majority of men because every man is different. Like I done ran across dudes who like they want their wife to plate their food 5-star restaurant style, and if they don't, it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? But that's that particular dude. Me, myself, I don't care. You got some dudes that they want fresh food cooked every single solitary day. You know what I'm talking about? They don't want no leftover. They don't want no nothing. I want a fresh plate every day. Hot, as soon as I get to the house. Some dudes don't require that. You know what I'm saying? Some dudes going to be like this here. You going to work in my business and you going to do this here. Or if you working, you going to drop that check off in my hand and I'm going to do X, Y, Z with it. Some dudes don't. You know what I'm talking about? Some dudes want their house clean, spotless, every minute, every moment of the day. You know what I'm talking about? It depends. Just like this here, right? I don't ask my wife to wash my clothes. I wash my own clothes. Some dudes be like, I'll never touch a piece of laundry. You know what I'm talking about? That don't bother me. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, my friend just said she got her husband beat her because she ordered pizza instead of cookies.
Woo, he beat her. Like put his hands on her? That nigga, that crazy. What'd he say? That nigga, that wild. Boy, was that serious? She don't need to call nobody. She need to get in the car and leave.
Call somebody to come get you.
Because that's ridiculous. Yeah, that's you made me, you ordered me Papa John's over? That nigga ordered that hot and red. That's why he was mad. Let's not make light of that. Now, the reason why we can laugh about it is because she got away from the nigga.
She talking about it.
Did she go back to him? Monica, did she go back? Shoot, I waited that. Shoot, she said she left.
But he was white and she was Asian. And he was like 60 and she only like 30.
She messed up right there.
60.
60 years old? And he beat her?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you something, right? They don't like to talk about that. Those are the people who marry out the most. Asians, women to white men. Happens a lot.
I say that's big in New York.
It is.
It's big in New York.
Real big in New York. And in California. Them white men like them Asian women.
I had a joke, but he's kind of racist.
I say tell it.
You Asian.
Shoot, she say she American Asian, not China Asian. She said she didn't go to the Shaolin Temple. That nigga beat her down. But see, that's up there crazy though. But you got some men who will snap about that. I would sit back and look at it like this here. And this is irregardless if the woman works or not. It's 7 days in a week. This is just me personally. 4 to 5 days of cooking me a meal is sufficient for me. You know what I'm talking about? But if I have to eat restaurant food and I have a woman in my house over half the week, then what the hell is she there for? No, I mean, because you have to get in account, right? Whether the woman work or not. It's going to be days where she just may not, because I don't want you to cook me no food in your heart with it. It's going to be trash. You know what I'm talking about? I would rather not. You know what I'm saying? You tired, you don't really feel like doing it. You know what I'm talking about? That food going to be trash. I don't want that. Because now I'm going to be mad at food trash. You done wasted our groceries. You could have just said, I don't feel like cooking today. Because sometimes dudes have to be reasonable about that, man. No, man, that woman ain't gonna feel like cooking some days. It's okay. I guess that man say consult with me before you order this damn pizza.
I had a coupon.
Straight up. I could have got 2 for $10, ho. And you got pineapples. You know I don't like that junk. But that's a little extreme. That's extreme.
He been waiting on that. That's all. I've been waiting on that.
Yeah, that's extreme.
That
That nigga waiting for something because that's unnecessary. You know what I'm talking about?
I could have went and got me something else.
It ain't that serious. You know what I'm saying? But you don't never know. You don't never know. You know what I'm talking about? You got some dudes like this here. Little Johnny probably do that. Then listen, man, you heal up. You know, you scrub my baseboards. I scrub my other people. You gonna scrub mine. You know what I'm talking about? You don't never know. You got some dudes that don't want their woman to do nothing but toot her booty in there. They don't care if she cook. They don't care if she clean. You know what I'm talking about? I need to say they keep that monkey clean and come on in this room. I wouldn't recommend it. I say have her do something. She gonna get tired of that, and then she gonna be around there with the pool boy. Now you got to shoot him and her, because they gonna be rude. They gonna do it in your house. The pool boy. Come on back to Hosea 7. That's just going back to we read that whole. The Isaiah 7. We're reading that in regards to you being the people, because he said that you'll be broken and be not a people. And you know, being not a people is that Yahuwah has rejected you and has removed himself from your presence. We're in verse 9 of Isaiah 7. The head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If you will not believe, you shall surely not be established. Always remember that if you don't believe, you're not going to be established. You ain't going to get no Amon. You're not going to be confirmed. You're not going to get no support. You're not going to get nothing. If you don't believe, you get no support. That's what a lot of people don't even sit back and realize it. I think that's what a lot of women in this society don't realize. Why would a man support you and you don't believe in him? That support would be what? The benefits of the covenant of which he agreed. I think a lot of times that's the difference of being married in America versus looking at the word wise. You get married in America, you taking vows. But when you get married word wise, that's a covenant contractual agreement that you are going to uphold certain parameters. And if you don't uphold those parameters, that is signs for termination of said contract. Now, see, the difference with Yahuwah and America is, with Yahuwah, that woman could not terminate that contract. In America, she can. You know what I'm talking about? See, I don't think a lot of people realize that. The woman could not divorce her husband in the land of Yasharal. That could not happen. She could leave, but she couldn't terminate that contract. A woman can terminate that contract in America. They do it every day for a multitude of asinine reasons. You know what I'm saying? That's why I done told you that most people who get divorced in America get divorced for money, and they're her saying that she's not happy. And I tell you, happiness is fleeting. You're chasing a high that you ain't never gonna catch. And that puts undue pressure on a man to continuously live his life to keep somebody satisfied and happy who can never be satisfied. That's a never-ending battle. Why even fight it? He got him an old used white woman. Yeah, that's his old lady. Wasn't she fat? She said she had to move on up to a man with some bread. You look at Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, look what she went and married. A school teacher. Yeah, she married a school teacher. You know ain't no black woman got no $1 billion when they married no school teacher. I don't even think she cared. You know what I'm saying? It's different when you deal with, because it's a different culture with white people being raised in America. That don't mean that white women don't want money or things of that nature. You know what I'm talking about? But it's certain things that it's not going to bother them. Like most white women are not going to complain if they got to go to work. Most white women are not going to complain if they have to do X, Y, Z for the family. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how she was raised and where she come from. And don't get me wrong, most white women who got money don't necessarily want a man who make less money, but that won't necessarily preclude them. They won't be like, I ain't gonna fool with him. You know what I'm talking about? A black woman is not going to do it. She gonna feel like you're not on my level. I don't want you. I deserve A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I'll wait till I get me a man who has it, and the man never comes. Because she could have got a man who would have suited her. Like they had a conversation about, dude told them, look for a leader in a man, and the woman kept talking about, well, what if you're not compatible? And he was like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? And she kept mentioning, what if y'all got different religions? Well, that's something that you would have ironed out before it even got that far anyway. Most of the time when a woman say not compatible, she don't find him sexually attractive. You know what I'm talking about? And that's usually what that be. Because most of the time, most women are scared to deal with a man because that's going to force them to actually be a woman, and they would just rather not. Just like you got a lot of bum niggas, they'd rather not deal with women because then they don't got to be no man. Now, we done had a conversation before. If you run across a young nigga and he say he need to get him a woman so he can be a man, just take your good hand. See, for me, it's my left. Put some baby powder on it and slap the taste out that nigga mouth. Because you should never seek to want to be something for the benefit of someone else. How many men you ever seen got married and had kids and that made them a better man if they didn't already have a desire to be one? All it's going to do is put burdens and responsibilities on you that you can't handle, and you're going to crumple under that pressure. What's that? For most women, you should already be a better woman before this man gets hold to you. But what ends up having to force them to improve is now you have pressure to perform that you didn't have if you weren't married. And that's why a lot of women in this society don't want to be married, because now they have to perform. If you go from relationship to relationship or be by yourself, you never have to perform.
I just think about I know who's like, you know, not my other people, like other girls I know, like they don't really like have a purpose, like they just kind of float and do what they do, and just do whatever. They don't really have, like, they don't know their role. Like,
that means they don't have anything to offer other than their vagina. That's what that sounds like. They don't have anything to offer. That means they're not a good woman. It means they're trash. As far as interacting with a man, that means they would have to get a low quality man. And they probably don't want a low quality man. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's the only thing that she would qualify for. Because you wouldn't be a woman to him. So what would he do with you? After he has sex with you a few times, now he tired of you. We done had a conversation. We told y'all about this here. That's something y'all can't relate to. Post-nut clarity for men is real. After this man is ejaculated, now he get to see, is there a reason for me to keep staying here talking to this woman? Most women don't realize that he had sex with me. He ain't called me no more. Because then he realized you're rude, you're disrespectful, you're lazy, you can't cook, you don't do nothing. I'm out. Because especially if that nigga led by his lust and all he want to do is have sex, his whole objective is to have sex with you. Then once that boy get that release, that nigga go to seeing the pimples on your forehead. That nigga notice how you know what I'm talking about? He go to noticing everything. That nigga like, dang, her feet look like she been kicking tires. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, what's going on? Did I really have sex with this nigga? You know what I'm talking about? Shoot. I didn't know, but by the looks of her hands and feet, she might be a man. Niggas go to look at all type of stuff. Like I said, I'm talking about if a nigga ain't simping. If a nigga done had sex with you and he done ejaculated and then he don't mind spending time with you and y'all don't have to have sex, that means he likes you. You know what I'm talking about? Most women don't understand that. If that man done had sex with you and he can still spend time with you and not have sex with you, that means that after that ejaculation, he said, you know what? I don't mind being in this woman's company. You know what I'm talking about? I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. Because to be told, men don't even want to spend too much time with a woman at all. And if he volunteers to do it, or he don't turn you down, yeah, he like you. You know what I'm saying? Dudes don't, I done told you that before, man. Dudes don't like to be around feminine energy all the time. You know what I'm saying? They want a space where you stay over there. I'm gonna be over here. It's not that I don't want you there. I just want to be over here while you over there. So I can deal with it. Feminine energy hard to deal with on a constant and consistent basis. How many of y'all ever lived in a house full of girls?
Bro, it's the worst.
You are a girl.
It's the worst.
Guess what? I was on block.
It's tough, ain't it?
I was on block till I couldn't take it no
Couldn't take it no more.
I mean, that's why I used to have a 7 a.m.
Don't want to never want to come back in there, man.
I love school.
I love school. You don't want to be in there with that because it's hard to deal with. It's hard to deal with.
It's fighting, always arguing.
It's always something. It's just the bombardment of femininity. You know what I'm saying? When you in a house full of women. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that men don't like or love women. It's just that, I mean, if a man is a real man is not going to want to be surrounded by women all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's a different type of energy that women give. It's not a negative. It's just different. And because if a man spends too much time around feminine energy, it's going to sap him of his masculinity.
Yeah. That's what happened.
It don't matter. That means you doing what you're supposed to be doing, serving men. It don't matter. Shoot, but that's the difference, though. A woman don't care if she's in the presence of feminine or masculine energy. That junk ain't gonna bother her. Because if she any type of woman, if there's a bunch of men in one space, she's going to remove herself anyway. Because she's not going to want to. She already knows it's not appropriate for a woman to be in a room full of men, family members or not. Matter of fact, before she depart out of the room, she's gonna look like, do you gentlemen need anything? Beverage, snack? If not, I'll go in the back if you need. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women be wondering why some of them girls be fast because you got them in the house with all the men. They around too much masculine energy. Now they around here when their loins get the itching. Now you wondering why they trying to look in every man's face because you didn't have them around too many men.
Hey, be quiet.
7 and 9. Is it 7 and 9? No, I read that. We in 7 and 10. Moreover, Yahuwah spake again unto Ahaz, saying, ask you a sign of Yahuwah your Elohim. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. Look where he told him to ask it for that. Ask for it in heavens or ask for it in the grave. Didn't we just talk about that last night? But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt Yahuwah. See, that's a strong, faithful man. He said, hear you now, O house of David. This is a small thing for you to weary men, but will you weary my Elohim also? Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. But before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that you abhor shall be forsaken of both her kings. Now, y'all remember what that means and how we know this referring to Mashiach? Because it said the land that you hated will be forsaken by both her kings. And this, let me ask you a question. Was there any kings ruling in the land of Yasharal upon Mashiach's arrival? Remember, because look what it said. It said before he would know how to refuse the evil and choose the good, there wouldn't be no kings there. So that's still an inkling to talk about something later on when we get to from Babylon to Mashiach is 14 generations. Because we talking about Syria is the ones who took Yasharal away. And Yehuda wasn't too far behind because who was he talking to? So just go back and up a little bit. You go back. Do y'all know where Isaiah was prophesying at? He was prophesying in Judah. He was prophesying in Judah. It was only a handful of people in here who were northern kingdom prophets. That's Nahum. That's Hosea. That's Amos. I'm trying to think, make sure I ain't leaving nobody else out. Jonah was Nineveh. Haggai was Jerusalem. Yeah, Nahum, Amos, Obadiah, well, you could say that was Judah. Huh? Oh, yeah, I mentioned him. Amos, Nahum, and Hosea was northern kingdom prophets. Zephaniah was in Jerusalem also. And most of all the prophets were in Jerusalem. Malachi was in Jerusalem. Zechariah was in Jerusalem. Haggai was in Jerusalem. Zechariah and Haggai specifically after the coming out of Babylon. Zephaniah was in Jerusalem. Habakkuk was a northern kingdom prophet also. Nahum, northern prophet. Micah was Jerusalem. Of course, Jeremiah was Jerusalem. Isaiah was Jerusalem. Jonah was Nineveh. Oh, Joel was northern kingdom also. Hosea was northern kingdom. Daniel was Babylon. Ezekiel was Babylon and Judah. And of course, you got Lamentations of Jeremiah. You know what I'm talking about? That's right. Only Herod, no Israelite king. Yeah, but he was talking about the land that you abhor. See, it wasn't no two kings in Syria. There were two kings in Yasharal, though, because this after the split. That's just what you add on there when the boy go to talking about he wasn't no king. Or this ain't talking about him. Because guess what? When this woman had this son that's referred to here, there was two kings in the land of Yasharal at that time. That's why he said this is a sign. That's what, again, it goes back to the point we were talking about before. Anytime you see something about a sign in that text, you're supposed to be sitting back looking at this relate to Mashiach in some shape, form, or fashion. Verse 17, Yahuwah shall bring upon you and upon your people and upon your father's house days that have not come, from the day that Ephraim departed from Yehuda, even to the king of Assyria. Yeah, I'm talking about prophets with a book. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahuwah shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost parts of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria. And they shall come and rest all of them in desolate valleys, and in the holes of rocks, and upon all the thorns, and upon all the bushes. In the same day the Lord shall shave with a razor that is hired by them beyond the river, the king of Assyria, the head, the hair of the feet, and it shall consume the beard. It shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep. It shall come to pass for the abundance of milk that they shall give, he shall eat butter. For butter and honey shall everyone eat that is left in the land. It shall come to pass in that day that every place shall be where there were 1,000 vines and 1,000 silverlings. It shall even be for briars and thorns. With arrows and with bows shall men come hither, because the land shall become briars and thorns. And on all hills that shall be digged with the mattock, there shall come not hither the fears of briars and thorns. It shall be for the sending forth of oxen and for the treading of lesser cattle. Now, what he's talking about is the direct destruction of Jerusalem and of the people. Now, there's a lot of stuff that came into that. And we're probably not going to get all to it right now, because it's probably tied in what we're going to talk about as forth is what I mentioned with Jeremiah 46, 47, 48, and 49, with all those particular groups of people. Because we're probably going to have to go back and look at what Assyria them had going on to deal with this anyway. Are y'all familiar with what happened with Assyria and Yasharal at this time that he's referring to? Are any of y'all even familiar with that? What you had going on at this particular time, if y'all recall, during the time of King Hezekiah, the dude name escapes me at this time. His name is in my head, but I feel like I'm going to mispronounce it. Remember, he was the one that sent the letters and told them, don't trust in Yahuwah. I'm going to kill you niggas. Now, of course, this story is in the book of Isaiah, but it's also referenced in the Chronicles of the Kings also, because it's also referenced in 2 Kings 17, because the Yasharal ended up getting into league with Syria because they were terrified of them. And of course, these people began to march down on Judah. And Ephraim, as you read in this Isaiah 7, were confederate in such matters. And they began to be a war. And of course, we ended up smashing Cuz and sending him on his way. Matter of fact, you can actually see that. I think it's in around the story where he mentioned with Elijah that Jehu would come through and he slayed the kings of Syria, because Isaiah's prophecy time is lines up with the Chronicles of Kings, the same way Jeremiah do. Like, most of the books in the book are not like just stretched out time periods. All these men coincided with one another. You know what I'm talking about? I just want to make sure y'all understand that and know that. Were you aware of that? Yes. Jeremiah and Elijah, Jeremiah and Isaiah, their prophecies are around the same times of some of the kings that are in the text. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, all of them. You know what I'm talking about? Every last individual in there coincides around times of every king who sat on the throne of Israel and Judah. The only I'm talking about, and then of course with Nehemiah and Ezra, that's after we come out of Babylon. Like, it's a condensed time period. It's not like this stretched out time period. Even the time period between Malachi and Mashiach's arrival is not that stretched that far out. You know what I'm saying? It's just a condensing of a history and the people in a short period of time. But it seems like it's a short period of time, but it's really just focusing on certain men at certain times with certain matters, because this is what I want you to know. Because that's right, 2 Kings 18 and 19, what I'm referring to. I'm trying to recall what I was going to say. It'll come back. Most people, when they look at the word, they want to try to say that it's historically inaccurate. Like, I just seen a dude say we weren't dealing with the book, and the New Testament wasn't written till like right before we got on slave ships. And that's asinine. And the reason why people say that is because they don't have the concept that the word was only for one group of people. It wasn't for the whole world. The whole world wasn't walking around. Like, now, of course, by the time we went into slavery in this country, yeah, the whole world had it, but they weren't supposed to have it. You know what I'm talking about? Because at that time it had done proliferated. Let's not be confused. The whole world knew who Yahuwah was. They knew who his people was, and they knew he had a word, but they didn't deal with it. Y'all should know that from Acts when he say he's teaching things unlawful for us to do, us being Romans. These people didn't do then what people do now. You know what I'm saying? Back then, you were not going to go into every country and see a synagogue where somebody pop up talking about Old Testament, New Testament. You weren't going to see that. You know what I'm talking about? See, now you can go into any country, anywhere in the world, and hear some Bible from some jackass idiot who ain't got no business talking about. You know what I'm saying? But where I was at with it, because we finna wrap this up right now. But yeah, because we're going to have to spend a whole bunch of time on this and everything. Because this man talking about killing all these people, and we're going to have to reference back what he was talking about. And we ain't going to have time, because we had 2 hours and 21 minutes. Let me ask y'all this here. Have y'all realized that there was a lot of wars going on in this text? A lot of wars going on. A lot of blood got shed for a multitude of different reasons. Yeah, that's right here. It's 2 Kings 18. It started about verse 17 with that Assyrian threat. What buddy name? Serenity. That's his name. Serenity. That's his name. That's the one who was selling out. That's the one who was selling out. You know what I'm talking about? And of course, the reason why the Assyrians were linking up is because Yahuwah son them, honestly. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, get you 2 Kings 18 and 17. You know what I'm talking about? And you can write that on down. Matter of fact, you could take it to about chapter 19 and get you some background on that. 2 Kings chapters 18 and 19, that'll get you some background on that before we swing back and try to link that up with Isaiah 7. And then we'll start looking at them prophecies against Egypt, against Ammon, against Moab. We already did the one against Edom, the Kenites, and then spend some time talking about Babylon again, because it's been a couple years since we did about Babylon, because that's intensive. But hallelujah for Yahushua's word. I appreciate y'all time this evening. Bless you all out the house, Elohim. You know, just weigh and consider. Now, I also, and we'll mention that part, that, you know, we benefit greatly dealing with Yahuwah. But Yahuwah does get a benefit from us serving him. I don't think that gets discussed on a regular basis, because the benefit is that he gets honored and esteemed through us, which allows his name and his righteousness to be proliferated even more throughout the earth. It's not like he just don't get a benefit from us serving him. It's just not in the fashion that men would receive a benefit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not something that he personally needs, but he still gets a benefit. You know what I'm talking about? But he gets the benefit because he demands the benefit. He demands that I need boom, 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 boom. Remember what he told them? When Peter said, what this man gonna do? He said, what to you if I will that he occupy till I come? You know what I'm saying? He said, but go feed my sheep. And that's a different instance on a man requiring, letting it be known, I may require this from this woman, and I may require this from that woman. But either way it go, what I require from them is going to be beneficial to my aims. See, also another instance of that, if one is an apostle, and one is a prophet, and one is a pastor, and one is an evangelist, one is a teacher, all of them are benefiting him, but they are benefiting him in a different fashion based off what he wants from them. Then you have some who they may just be a cheerful giver to those who are without, and that's still a benefit to Yahuwah, because many thanks redound unto his name. But it's still a benefit to him, because that's what I want him to do. And that's how that benefits me. And that's something that all young men are supposed to know, that that woman is supposed to be a benefit to you based off your vision and plan. And sometimes your vision and plan may not be monetarily. See, the first time we go to thinking about vision and plan, most niggas go to thinking about money. You know what I'm saying? Your vision and plan is your vision and plan, and it is no man's place to tell another man what his vision and plan ought to be unless that man is your father, or unless he raised you. You know what I'm talking about? Now, if he raised you, contrary to popular belief, that man can come tell you what your vision gonna be. Because your vision going to be in line to what his vision is, because that's how the father to son dynamic operates. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. See, when you live in America, that's offensive. That goes back to what I told you last week. Most people are rebellious. Could you imagine if you was paying for your son's education and you said, son, this is what you going to school for? And this nigga told you, I'm going to go do this here. And he still expect you to pay for it. And you know what most people do? Well, if that's what my son want to do, I'm going to pay for it. I'm not paying for it. If you told me, Daddy, I want to go to college for dance, and I told you were going to college to be a real estate professional, even though you don't need to go to college for that, you know what I'm talking about? Well, shoot, nigga, if you're trying to get in the Juilliard, I guess you better get your job. Because I'm not paying for that. I'm not financing that. That's not my vision. That's yours. You a rebel. I'm not paying for that. That's not my job to finance your dreams. Your job is to fulfill my will. That's what your job is. Your job is to fulfill my will, even if you're 35 years old with your own kids. And y'all should know that from the word. Do you not remember the story in the book of Jeremiah where that man told his sons that they better not dwell in no houses and go to Jerusalem? Are you familiar with that? Y'all remember that? Oh, y'all look like y'all don't remember. Huh?
I was just saying, I think that Jeremiah like 36.
Yeah, we finna look at it right now, since I mentioned it.
You gotta make sure it's on the vision is outside of sports. So that's the black man vision.
That's the black man vision. My boy gonna play sport. That boy gonna run that rock. Mm-hmm. Nah, I ain't 36. I'm trying to remember where it's at now. No, he just let it, he blessed them for listening to their father. Because he told him yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. I can't even remember where it's at right now. That junk escaping my brain. Yeah, come over here to Jeremiah. It's Jeremiah 35. I think it's Jeremiah 35. That's what we want. The Rechabites. Look at 35 and 1 real quick, right? Look at what he's telling. And that indeed, sir, I agree wholeheartedly. The word came unto Jeremiah from Yahuwah in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Yehuda, saying, go you to the house of the Rechabites, speak unto them, bring them into the house of Yahuwah, into one of the chambers, and give them wine to drink. Then I took Yezaniah, son of Jeremiah, the son of Habazaniah, and his brethren, and all his sons, the whole house of the Rechabites. I brought them into the house of Yahuwah, into the chamber of the sons of Hanan, the son of Igdaliah, a man of Elohim, which was by the chamber of the princes, which was above the chamber of Messiah, the son of Shalom, the keeper of the door. And I said before the sons of the house of Rechabites, pots full of wine, cups. And I said unto them, drink you wine. And they said, we will drink no wine. For Yonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, commanded us, saying, you shall drink no wine, nor your sons forever. Neither shall you build a house, nor sow seed, nor plant vineyard, nor have. But all your days you shall dwell in tents, that you may live many days in the land where you be strangers. Thus have we obeyed the voice of Yonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, and all that he have charged us to drink no wine all our days, we, our wives, our sons, nor our daughters, nor to build houses for us to dwell in. Neither have we vineyard, nor field, nor seed. See, I didn't want y'all to know that too also, because, they like to make you think that people in the old days lived in tents. These people built houses. They had houses. Their houses had roofs. And contrary to popular belief, a lot of them had indoor plumbing. You know what I'm talking about? And they don't like to talk about that. I had a book. I forget the name of the book. You know what I'm talking about? I think it was like before us. I can't remember what it was, but it showed that ancient societies had a lot of technology that they don't get credited for because they want you to believe that these people were primitive idiots who just lived like wild beasts and animals, and that is not the case. We are not the first. That's the name of the book.
They had engines. I remember reading engines.
Yeah, they had engines. They had aeronautical devices. They had indoor plumbing. I'm talking about bathtubs and toilets. No, but what I'm telling you is that y'all remember when y'all was in school, they made it seem like ancient societies lived very primitively, and they did not.
I was seeing some documentary. It was like the infrastructure they had back then, probably the technology was probably better than
Yeah, it was more complicated. It's stuff that they done found in ancient societies that they have not been able to master. Yeah, they were way more intelligent.
I mean, they said it like about the pyramids too.
Yeah, they don't understand how the pyramids was built, why they was built that way. You know, them pyramids are built like that all across the world. Because they only like to talk about the pyramids in Egypt. There were others. Let's roll on out, though. Where we got at? Where we at, right? He said, but we have dwelt in tents and obeyed and done according to all that Jehonadab our father commanded us. But it came to pass when Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up into the land that we said, come, let us go to Jerusalem for fear of the army of the Chaldeans, for the fear of the army of the Syrians. So we dwelt at Jerusalem. Then came the word of Yahuwah unto Jeremiah, saying, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, go tell the men of Yehuda and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, will you not receive instruction to hearken to my words, saith Yahuwah? The words of Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, that he commanded his sons not to drink wine or perform, for unto this day they drink none, but they obey their father's commandment. Notwithstanding, I have spoken unto you, rising early and speaking, and you have not hearkened unto me. I have sent also unto you all my servants the prophets, rising up early, sending, saying, return now every man from his evil way, and amend your doings, and go not after other gods to serve them, and you shall dwell in the land which I have given to you and to your fathers, but you have not inclined your ear, nor hearkened unto me. Because of the son of Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, had performed the commandment of their father, which he commanded them, but this people have not hearkened unto me. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah, Elohim of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, behold, I will bring upon Yehuda and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem all the evil that I have pronounced against them, because I have spoken unto them, but they have not heard. I have called unto them, and they have not answered. And Jeremiah said unto the house of the Rechabites, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, because you have obeyed the commandment of Jonadab your father, and kept all his precepts, and done according to all that he hath commanded you. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, shall not want a man to stand before me forever. That means every man from this man's line is going to stand before Yahuwah because they obeyed, and he used them as a witness against the whole house of Yasharal to justify destroying them, because these men hearkened to their father. And these were grown men. You seen they had wives, sons, and daughters. All of them. And not one of them said, I ain't listening to this nigga, I'm grown. You know what I'm talking about? I've been mentioning that because that's the American stuff, and that's rebellion. What niggas obeyed their father to the day that they died. Now, how many of y'all could have went for that if your daddy told you, hey, boy, don't you build no house, don't you drink no wine, and you got your own family?
You're not taught to think that way. So
No, you're not. You're not taught to think that way. Most people go, man, I don't shoot. And you can't tell me what to do. I'm grown.
Especially if he dead, too.
Them boys, indeed, and these boys obeying this man's word after his death. Now, of course, Rechab means rider, and this is a brew, a Rechab. This is a brew. This ain't no stranger. But you see, and I've been mentioning that because look how obedience can get you to stand before Yahuwah on something simple. And look what he said, and that's exactly what you said. What he said, like, hey, so you mean to tell me that these boys can listen to their dad, but y'all can't listen to me? I'm just mentioning that on the thought process of that, how that goes in ancient cultures, that you did what your father told you to do. What your father told you to do, that's what you did. It didn't matter if you was 15 or 45. I don't even think most of us realize reading the text that Isaac served Abraham till Abraham died, and Isaac was good and grown. I'm talking about 50, 60 years old. Old too. Served him to the day that he died. These niggas old. It's men right now that couldn't see themselves serving their daddy at 60. So of course, you know, if the men ain't gonna do it, the women ain't gonna do it either. Serve, do what my daddy tell me to do. Now that's different, because the woman don't obey her father once she gets passed to her husband. That's over with. You know what I'm saying? Once she gets passed to her husband, hey, shoot, that's a you problem. Straight up. If he any type of man, he not gonna get involved with that. That's not how that works. You obey your husband now. See, it's different with men. A man gotta obey his daddy as long as he lives. But that woman got to obey her husband once she get one. But in this society, a woman's told she can obey herself. That's the whole of the law. But hey, I appreciate y'all this evening, man. Bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua Yahuwah will it, man. We'll pick it up on Wednesday, man. Make it do what it do. Until that time. Yeah, I forgot that. Hey, Doc Nick Stuffing.